Hello there, it's 2020 November. I'm going to create a Unity project called Workflow 4, and this is level 1. We're going to use Unity 2019.4.13 or whatever the long-term support 2019 is. The latest ones have a dark mode, which makes it much easier to see. So in the project, we go to Windows Asset Store, then we drag the tab Asset Store out so it pops out, and we can stretch it out and see what we're doing using Asset Store. Then you can use Control 9 or you can just use Windows Asset Store. Now we're going to search for footsteps, and the first thing we're going to bring in is the free footstep system. And this gives us a first person and third person controller. There's a great deal of cool assets, but we need to look at the free ones. I'm always aware that students are on a budget, and at some point it will be worth having a look at some of these if you start doing professional work. But for the students, we're going to use the free footstep system. Very, very good. That's free. And from that, we're going to take the first person and third person control. We're going to use that for level 1. That's going to be our way of getting around the map and exploring. Later on, we're going to integrate this with Invector so that we can have Invector footsteps. So next is a Dwarven Expedition pack, stylized, and it's free. Get the free one. If you feel like it, buy the full version, which has even more stuff, objects and textures. And this will provide us a whole load of very cool things for making dungeons. In particular, creating tile sets which we will stick into Dungeon. And I will go through each one of these individually later on, and in particular paying attention to Dungeon and multi-story dungeons because they're integrated, but this is a very good additional texture set and objects. More than worthwhile getting and looking into, especially whilst it's free. And I do know that the guy who made this is looking into making an integration for Dungeon as well to make it as frictionless as possible and as easy as possible to use it. Next, we've got Dungeon. So we've got Make Your Fantasy Game Light. There's another free one. It also has there's a free version and a paid for version. This is the cut down one, but it's very, very good. And the paid one has even more stuff, but it has everything in the kitchen sink. So I do review this and go into this in other videos, but again, it's worthwhile getting, and this is going to be part of the core workflow for level 1 students, the beginning. I'm importing Dungeon. Now this is a paid for asset. It's one of the most bulletproof dungeon generators I could get. There's some free ones out there if you want to have a look and explore with them. But I'm going to be using Dungeon, which is kind of a semi-industry standard for Unity for making dungeons. There's also one called Dungeon Architect, which we will also cover, but that's beyond the brief of the core. The core is Dungeon, get that. Multi-story dungeons, get that. Again, multi-story dungeons is not cheap. Both Dungeon and multi-story dungeons try and find and get hold of on Black Friday, spring sales and summer sales, or pay full price. Also, Humble Bundle can sometimes have it as well, Unity bundles, but worth checking on Humble every month and get some great stuff there. So that is multi-story dungeons, and now I'm checking the folder structure, looking at Dungeon, pre-footstep system, multi-story dungeons, resources, scenes, and Toby, which is the Dwarven pack. So the one missing there is the first dungeon. This one, Make Your Fantasy Game Light. I always get the name wrong, but we make sure that's imported as well. Download and import, and it's got a whole load of very interesting things to be playing with. Scenes and everything. It's all on the standard pipeline. I'm going to stick with standard for as long as we can because it's a lot easier to wrap one's head around rather than the HDR and the URP ones, the new ones that pushing. But the standard one that comes with Unity is great for just getting to learn the basics and understanding what's going on without purple shades of doom. And yeah, so we're looking for that, and we're also looking for it's called LFG at its backlight. So we've got everything ready, and that's pretty much it for the core workflow for November 2020, level 1, and see you in the next videos.